Huzzah, folks, and welcome back to Daggerfall Unity. I think the first order of business is to sleep, probably, cast a couple spells, sleep, but once we're done with that, we're going to get to reading. We're going to find a cozy nook in this inn and do some real-life reading. But we need to get some shut-eye, because I think our character is well-rested. Lovely. Until fully healed. Beautiful. Damn, man, it's 8 in the morning. Let's get a bite to eat, and then, yeah, we'll start cracking some books, ma'am. Oh, feels good to be back in civilization and not being accosted every... Oh, look at this. We'll sit over here. We'll sit over here. Hail. I will have your royal breakfast plate with a golden ale. All right, let's get into position. There we go. Beautiful. Am I positioned well? There we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and tilt it down. Lovely. What a beautiful view. Let's read. I need to go to my wagon. Where are all these books? They're all at the bottom, right? Wow, I have a lot to sell. Hello? 2 and 6. I need to remove them. What's this one? The True Baron Zaya 8. What is this? Letter of credit? What do we got? War Bettany, history, war, biography, real, history of Daggerfall. Biography. Oh, I have 2 of those. Gonna have to get rid of one. Banker's Bet. Any more books up top? Further up top? No. Gold. Alright, that's fine. I'm just gonna do one more quick scroll through. Make sure I'm not missing anything of import. Take a sip of my little V8 energy drink. What is this? Legal Basics, King Edward, the fairy, fairy, mountain languages, my bandages. That's not the right type of book. All right, exit. Let us consult the books. So as far as the real Baron Zaya goes, let me actually remove them all. Oh, I can have them in order. Where is the real Baron Zaya 1? 5, 9, 3, 10. Here's the first one. Where's 2? Biography. There's 2. Where's 3? 3 was down here. 4 is... Wait, that's the biography right there again. Here's 4. 5 was down here somewhere. 6 was... 6 is right here. 7. Do I got a 7 in the crowd? Uh-oh. I don't have number 7. 8. 9. 10. Oh my god, I'm missing... Oh, I'm missing 7. I'm missing 7. Alright, we're gonna have to look for it. Where's 8, 9, 10, and then these are the biographies, which I have all 3 of. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, cool. Now this should be in order. Lovely. Maybe this is 7. Use. Chapter 6. Okay, so that's the second one. Ooh, these are gonna be long. Am I even ready for this shit? I have no idea. The real Baron Zaya. 500 years ago, in Mournhole, City of Gems, there lived a blind widow woman and her only child, a strapping young man. He was a miner, and was his father, as was his father before him, a common laborer in the king's mines, for his magica ability was but small. The work was honorable but poorly paid. His mother made and sold small Wildenberry cakes in the market to help eke out their living. They did well enough, his mother said. They had enough to fill their bellies. No one could wear more than one suit of clothing at a time, and the roof only leaked when it rained. Samish? I think it's just Samish, right? Okay, Samish would have Samish would have liked more. He hoped for a lucky strike in the mines, which would garner him a large bonus. In his free hours, he enjoyed hoisting a glass of ale in the tavern, Golden Ale baby, with his friends and gambling with them at cards. He drew the eyes and the sighs of more than one pretty elven girl, although none held his interest for long. In short, Seamus was a typical young dark elf man, remarkable only for his size. It was rumored that he had a bit of Nord blood in him. In Seamus's 13th year, there was great rejoicing in Mournhold, for a girl child was born to their lord and his lady. A queen, the people sang, a queen is born to us. For among the people of Mournhold, the birth of a female heir is a sure sign of peace and prosperity to come. When the time came for royal child's right of naming, why does it say the royal child's right of naming? Anyways, the mines were closed and Seamus rushed home to bathe and dress in his best. I thought I only had one pair of clothes. I'll come straight home and tell you all about it, he promised his mother, who was not to attend. She had been ailing. Besides, there would be a great crush of people, as all of Mournhold would be there. And being blind, she would be unable to see anything anyway. My son, she said, ere you go, fetch me a priest or healer, else I may pass from this mortal plane ere you return. Seamus crossed to the bed at once and noted anxiously that her head was very hot and her breath shallowing. He pried up the loose floorboard where their small hoard of savings was kept. There wasn't nearly enough to pay a priest for healing. He would have to give what they had and owe the rest. Damn, you would think on like a naming day like that, priests would have healed for free, right? You know, peace and prosperous and shit. Seamus snatched up the cloak and rushed away. The streets were full of folk hurrying to the sacred grove, but the Mage Guild and the temples were locked and barred. Closed for the ceremony, read the signs. Seamus elbowed his way through the crowd and managed to overtake a brown-robed monk. After the rite, brother, the monk said. If you have gold, I shall gladly to attend your mother. My lord has bade all clerics to attend, and I shall not offend him. My mother's desperately ill, Seamus pled. Surely my lord will not miss just one lowly monk. Oh my god, that's kind of... Yeah. The father abbot will, the monk said nervously, tearing his robe loose from Seamus's grip and vanishing into the crowd. Seamus tried other monks and mages too, but with no better result. Armored guards came through the street and pushed him aside with their lances, and Seamus realized that the royal procession was approaching. As the royal carriage drew abreast, Seamus rushed out from the crowd and shouted, "My lord, my mother's dying!" "I forbid her to do so on this glorious night," the lord shouted, laughing and scattering coin to the throng. Seamus was close enough to smell wine on the royal breath. See, I fucking told you guys. Wine. That's the key to get to these people. On the other side of the carriage, his lady clutched her babe in her breast and stared wide-eyed at Seamus. Her nostrils flared in disdain. Damn. Guards cried, "Remove this oaf." Rough hands seized Seamus, and he was beaten and left dazed by the side of the road. Ouch. Seamus, head aching, followed in the wake of the crowd and watched the rite of naming from atop the hill. He could see the brown-robed clerics and blue-robed mages gathering near the royal folk far below. Baron Zaya, the name came dim to Seamus's ears. As the high priest lifted the naked babe and showed her to the twin moons of either side of the horizon, Joan rising, Jode setting. Behold the lady Baron Zaya, born to rule of Mournhold. Grant her thy blessings and thy counsel ever, that she shall rule. Rule to Mournhold's well. I've never seen that word before. Blessings, blessings, all the people murmured, with their lord and lady hands upraised. Only Seamus stood silent, head bowed, knowing in his heart that his dear mother was gone. In his silence he swore a mighty oath, that he should be his lord's bane, and in vengeance for his mother's needless death, the child Baron Zaya would have as his own bride, that his mother's grandchildren should be born to rule Mournhold. Wow. After the ceremony, he watched impassively as the royal procession returned to the palace. He saw the monk whom he'd spoken first. The man came gladly enough now in return for the gold Seamus had, and a promise of more later. They found his mother dead, as he had feared. The monk sighed and tucked the bag away. I'm sorry, brother. Well, you can forget the rest of the gold, as there's naught I can do here likely. Give me back my gold, Seamus snarled. Thank God he fucking defended this. You've done naught but earn it. He lifted his right arm threateningly. The priest backed away, beginning a curse, but Seamus struck him before more than 3 words had left his mouth. He went down heavily, striking his head sharply on one of the stones that formed the fire pit. He died instantly. Seamus took the gold back and fled the city, muttering the name, Baron Zaya. Whoa. Damn, this is a long book. I guess they're all pretty long. The child Baron Zaya stood on the upper balcony of the palace, staring down into the courtyard where soldiers milled, splendid in their armor. Presently they formed into ordered ranks and cheered as her parents, the lord and lady, emerged from the palace, clad head to toe in ebony armor, long purple-dyed fur cloaks flowing behind. Oh, that'd be a good combo to use. Splendidly caparisoned? What? Wow, what is this word? Caparisoned? Shining black horses were brought for them, and they mounted and rode to the country yard gates, then turned to salute her. Baron Zaya, they cried. Baron Zaya, farewell. The little girl blinked back tears and waved bravely with one hand. Her favorite stuffed animal toy, a gray wolf cub she called Woofin, clutched to her breast in the other. She had never been parted from her parents before, and no idea what it meant, save that there was war in the West, and the names Tiber Septim and Seamus were on everyone's lips, spoken with hate and dread. Baron Zaya, the soldiers cried, lifting their lances and swords and bows. Then her dear parents turned and rode away, soldiers trailing in their wake until the palace was near emptied. Some time after came the day when Baron Zaya was shaken awake by her nurse, dressed hurriedly and carried from the palace. Oh, they're fleeing. All she remembered of that dreadful time was seeing a huge shadow with burning eyes that filled the sky. Whoa, what? Whoa. She was passed from hand to hand. Foreign soldiers appeared. Her nurse vanished and was replaced by strangers, some more strange than others. There were days, or was it weeks, of travel. One morning she woke to step from the coach into a cold place with a large gray stone house set amid an endless empty gray-green hills of patch. Wait, did I skip a set? From the coach into a cold place with a large gray stone house set amid endless empty gray-green hills, patchily covered with gray-white snow. Damn. She clutched Woofin at her breast with both hands and stood blinking and shivering in the gray dawn, feeling very small and very black in all this endless space, gray-white. Space, gray-white space, Jesus. A large gray-white woman was staring at her with dreadful bright blue eyes. "She's very black, isn't she?" the woman remarked to their companion, a brown-skinned, black-haired woman named Hannah, who had been traveling with Baron Zaya for several days. "I have never seen a dark elf before." Damn, well, that explains the casual racism in this universe. Okay. I'm all lost in this book. Hang on. Yeah, okay. Well, this is the last line. Okay, it didn't scroll much and it kind of wigged me out. "I don't know very much about them myself," Hannah said. "This one's got red hair and a temper to match. I can tell you that. Take care. She bites and worse." Oh my god, Baron Zaya. Alright, so that's part 1. Part 2. Baron Zaya grew like a weed, transplanted into a Skyrim garden. A ward of Court Sven and his wife. Court Sven, Jesus. A ward of Count Sven and his wife, Lady Inga. Outwardly, she thrived, but there was a cold and empty place within. "I've raised her as my own daughter," Lady Inga was wont to sigh when she sat gossiping with the neighboring ladies come to visit. "But she's a dark elf. What can you expect?" Baron Zaya was not meant to overhear these words. At least she thought she was not. Her hearing was far keener than that of the Nord hosts. Other less desirable dark elf traits included pilfering, lying, and a little magic, but just a small fire spell and a little levitation. And as she grew older, a keen interest in boys and men who could provide very pleasant sensations, and, to her astonishment, gifts as well. Inga disapproved of this activity for reasons incomprehensible to Baron Zaya, so she was careful to keep it as secret as possible. "She's wonderful with children," Inga added, meaning her 5 sons, all younger than Baron Zaya. She'd never seen them come to harm. Okay. A tutor was hired when Johnny was 6. Johnny was 6? Johnny was 6 and Baron Zaya was 8. And she studied academic lessons along with him. She would have liked arms training as well, but the very idea of a girl training into arms scandalized Inga and Sven. Baron Zaya was given a bow and allowed to practice target shooting with the boys. She watched them at arms practice when she could, practiced with them when no grown folk were about, and knew she was good or better than they. "She's very proud, isn't she?" the neighboring ladies would whisper, and Baron Zaya, pretending not to hear, would nod in agreement. She could not help but feel superior to the Count and Countess. There was something about them that encouraged this disdain in her. She knew to learn that Sven and Inga were distant cousins of the last rulers of Darkmoon. Darkmoon. Do I know that place? It sounds familiar. And then she began to understand. They were posers? Poseurs, imposters, not rulers at all. At least they were not raised to rule. This thought made her strangely furious at them, a good, clean hatred detached from resentment. Baron Zaya came to see them as disgusting and corrupted insects who could be despised but never feared. Damn. Once a month, a courier came from the Emperor, bringing a small bag of gold for Inga and Sven, and a large bag of dried mushrooms from Morrowind for Baron Zaya's consumption. She was always made presentable as presentable as a skinny dark elf could be made to look in Inga's eyes, and summoned into the courier's presence for a brief interview. The same courier seldom came twice. but all looked over her rather as a farmer looks over a pig. Readying to for market. In the spring of her 16th year, Baronziah thought the courier looked as if she were at last ready for market. Oh wow, what a way to fucking phrase that. Upon reflection, Baronziah decided that she did not wish to be marketed. The stable boy Straw, a big blond boy, clumsy, gentle, affectionate, and rather simple, had been urging her to run off with him for some weeks. Baronziah stole the bag of gold the courier had left, took the mushrooms from the storeroom, dressed herself as a boy in some of 12-year-old Timmy's casual clothing, and one fine spring night, they took the two best horses and rode hard through the night towards White Run. Okay, White Run. Okay, the nearest city of any size, which was where Straw wanted to go. But Marwind was also lay east, and it drew Baronziah as a lodestone does iron. In the morning, they abandoned the horses at Baronziah's insistence. She knew they would be missed and tracked, and she hoped to throw off the pursuers off the trail. They continued afoot until late afternoon, keeping to side roads, and slept for several hours in an abandoned hut. They went on at dusk and came to Whiterun city gates just before dawn. Baronziah had prepared a pass for Straw, stating an errand to a temple in the city for a local village lord. She herself sneaked over the wall with the help of her levitation spell. Yeah. She had reasoned that by now the gate guards would have been alerted to look for a young dark elf and a Nord boy traveling together. But country boys like Straw were common enough, alone with papers. He would be unlikely to draw their attention. Her simple plan went smoothly. She met Straw at a temple which was not far from the gate. She had been to Whiterun on a few previous occasions. Straw, however, had never been more than a few miles from Sven's estate, his birthplace. Together, they made their way to a rundown inn in the poorer quarter of Whiterun. Gloved, cloaked, and hooded against the chill of the morning, her dark skin and red eyes were not apparent, and no one paid any attention to them. They entered the inn separately. Sven paid the host for a single room, a large meal, and a jug of ale, and Baronziah sneaked in a few minutes later. They ate and drank together gleefully, celebrating their escape, made love vigorously on the narrow bed, then fell into an exhaustive sleep. Wow. I can see why she wants to get rid of this book. They stayed a week in Whiterun. Straw earned a bit of money running errands, and Baronziah robbed a few houses at night. Baronziah continued to dress as a boy. She cut her hair short and dyed her flame-red tress jet black as a further disguise, and to keep out of sight as much as possible, for there were a few dark elves in Whiterun. Then Straw got them places as guards for a merchant caravan that was traveling east. The sergeant looked her over dubiously. "Heh," he chuckled, "dark elf, ain't ya? Like setting a wolf to guard the sheep. Oh my god, that is. Still, I need arms, and we ain't going near enough to Morrowind that ye can betray us to your brothers. Our homegrown bandits will as lief cut your throat as mine." The sergeant gave Straw an appraising look, then abruptly spun back to Baronziah, whipping out his short sword. But she had her knife out and was in a defensive stance. Straw drew his own knife and circled to the man's rear. The sergeant dropped his blade and chuckled again. "Not bad, kids, not bad. How are ye with that bow, dark elf?" Baronziah demonstrated her prowess. "Aye, not bad at all. And you'll be keen of an eye by night, and of hearing at all times. A trusty dark elf makes as good a fighting man as any could ask for. I know, I served under Seamus himself before I lost my arm and got invalidated out of the Emperor's forces." Ouch. And Seamus again, interesting. We could betray them. I know. Wait, who's this? Straw? Okay. We could betray them. I know folk who would pay well, Straw said later as they bedded down for their last night with the old in the old inn, or rob them ourselves. They're very rich, those merchants are, Barry. Oh, I guess that may be Baron Zaya's name. Baron Zaya chuckled. Whatever would we do with that much money? And we need their protection for traveling quite as much as they need ours. We could buy a little farm and settle down. Peasant, Baron Zaya thought scornfully. Straw was a peasant and had peasant dreams. Ouch. But all she said was, not here, Straw. We're too close to Darkmoor still, and we'll have more chances further east. Oh, maybe I've been to Darkmoor in Skyrim? God, it sounds so familiar. The caravan went only as far east as Sungard. Tiber Septim had done much in the way of building relatively safe patrolled highways, but his tolls were steep, and his particular caravan kept to the side of the roads as much as possible to avoid them. This exposed them to hazards of robber barons, both human and orcish, and roving bands of brigands, Jesus, of various races, but such were the perils of trade and profit. They had 2 such encounters before reaching Sungard, an ambush which Baron Zaya's keen ears detected in plenty of time for them to circle about and surprise the lurkers, and a night attack by a mixed band of Khajiit, humans, and wood elves. The latter were a skilled band, and even Baron Zaya did not hear them sneaking up in time to give much warning. The fighting was fierce. The attackers were driven off, but 2 of the caravan's guards were killed, and Straw got a nasty cut on his thigh before he and Baron Zaya killed his Khajiit assailant. Baron Zaya rather enjoyed her life. The garrulous sergeant had taken a liking to her, and she spent most of her evenings sitting around a campfire listening to his tales of campaigning in Morrowind with Tiber Septim and Seamus. Ouch, that's why she fled when she was a young girl, because they came to beat the place up. Seamus had been made a general after Mournhold fell, and the sergeant said, "He is a fine soldier, Seamus is, but there was more than soldiery involved in Morrowind, if you take my drift." What? Well, you know about that, I expect. I don't remember, Baron Isaiah said. I've mostly lived in Skyrim. My mother had married a Skyrim man. They're both dead, though. What happened to the lord and lady of Mournhold? Oh, this is how she's going to find out. The sergeant shrugged. I never heard. Dead, I expect. All Morrowind's under military rule now. It's pretty quiet, maybe too quiet, like a calm before a storm. You going back there? Maybe, Baron Zaya said. The truth was that she was drawn to Morrowind like a magnet. Straw sensed it and was unhappy about it. He was unhappy anyway, since they could not bed together, as she was supposed to be a boy. Baron Zaya rather missed it too, but not as much as Straw did, seemingly. The sergeant wanted them to sign on for a return trip, but gave them a bonus when they parted and a letter of recommendation. Oh, nice. Straw wanted to settle permanently near Sungard, but Baron Zaya insisted on continuing to travel east. I'm the Queen of Mournhold by rights, she said, unsure whether it was true or it was a story she had made up as a child. I want to go home. I need to go home. That, at least, was true. She had not run out of mushrooms, as they were... She had run out of mushrooms and was very hungry for them. She found a few for sale in Sungard Marketplace, but they were not as good or satisfying as the ones the courier had brought. After a few weeks, they managed to get places in caravan heading east, but by early winter, they were in Riften and near the Morrowind border. Oh, okay. But the weather had grown severe, and they were told no merchant caravans would set forth until mid-spring. Baron Zaya stood atop the city walls and stared across the deep gorge that separated Riften from the snow-clad mountain wall of Morrowind beyond. Barry, Straw said gently, Mournhold's a long way off yet. Nearly as far as we've come already, but the lands between are wild, full of wolves and bandits and orcs and still worse creatures. We'll have to wait for spring. There's Silgrod Tower, Barry said, referring to the Dark Elf Tower that had grown up around the ancient... Wait, what? Dark Elf Tower that had grown up around the ancient tower that guarded the border between Skyrim and Morrowind. The bridge guards won't let me cross, Barry. They're crack Imperial troops. They can't be bribed. If you go alone. I won't try to stop you, but what will you do? Silgrod Tower is full of Imperial troops. Will you become a washerwoman for them? A camp follower? No, Baron Zaya said thoughtfully. Actually, the idea was not entirely unappealing. Oh, wow. She was sure that she could earn a modest living by sleeping with the soldiers for money. She had a few adventures of that sort as they crossed Skyrim, where she dressed as a woman and slipped away from Straw. She'd only been looking for a bit of variety. Straw was sweet but dull, and she'd been startled but pleased when the men she picked up offered her money afterwards. Okay, so that's something else she doesn't want out there. Okay, if it's true. Straw had been unhappy about it, though, and would shout for a while, then sulk for days afterwards if he caught her at it. He was very jealous. He'd even threatened to leave her, but the Imperial Guards were a tough and brutal lot by all accounts, and Baron Zaya had heard some very ugly stories during her travels. The ugliest stories had come from the lips of ex-veterans around the caravan campfire, and were proudly recounted. Oh boy. They'd been trying to shock her and Straw, she realized, but she also realized that there was some truth behind the wild tales. Straw hated that kind of talk, and hated having her hear it, but there was part of him that was fascinated by it. Baron Zaya had encouraged Straw to seek out other women, but he had said he didn't want anyone but her. She told him she didn't feel that way, but she did like him better than anyone else. Then why do you go with other men? That was the hardest sentence in the world for me. I don't know, dear. Straw sighed. They say dark elf women are like that. Baron Zaya smiled and shrugged. I know. I guess that's all the explanation there is. Oh my god. Part 2, done. Oh, that was another good sip. So we are on to 3 now. The Real Baron Zaya, Part 3. Who's writing these? Does anyone know who's writing these? Does it even... Oh, anonymous. Alright, how long is this one? Alright, we can do this one. They settled into Riften for winter, taking a cheap room in the slums. Baron Zaya joined the Thieves Guild, knowing there would be trouble if she were caught freelancing. One day in the bar room, she caught the eye of a known member of the guild, a bold young Khajiit named Theris. She offered to bed with him if he would sponsor her for a membership. He looked her over, grinning, and agreed, but she said she'd still have to pass the test. What sort of test? Ah, Theris said. Payment first, sweet thing. He put an arm around her, leaned over, and kissed her, thrusting his tongue deep in her mouth and his free hand into her shirt. Wow. Nice, he said pleasantly, withdrawing his tongue, but not his hand. His other hand slipped down inside her waistband and fondled her buttocks. Let's go upstairs. We can use my room. Baron Zaya felt both embarrassed and excited by his boldness. Theris grinned insolently. Why bother? You want me, don't you? I'll bet you'd pay me, wouldn't you? Oh my god, the turnaround on that. No, Baron Zaya said. She did want him, but not that badly. No? Well, a bargain's a bargain, and Theris keeps his word. But here, now. He hiked her skirt and pulled her into his lap so she sat astride. Facing him, he opened her shirt and pulled it down on her shoulders so that her breasts were exposed. Nice pair, kid. Oh my god. She was facing the wall, but she could feel the stares of the other patrons. A hush had fallen over the place. Even the bard had stilled. She felt both nausea and a hot burning desire. Her hands released his... I am Jesus. Yeah, okay, we're skipping that part. Wow, okay, we're skipping that part. When she came to herself again, she was sitting beside Theris, who was buttoning her shirt. That hurt, she said indignantly. Always does, kid. Didn't anyone ever tell you about Khajiit men? It hurts good, though, doesn't it? Damn, what the fuck? Baron Zaya scowled at him, but was still smarting. Barbs on it. Okay, it's getting into... Okay. Well, this deal's off if you like, he shrugged. No, I didn't say that. Only I prefer privacy and want to wait a while, like a day before the next time? Oh my god. Oh, they're talking about doing it again. Jesus Christ. I never thought this was going to be this way. I don't remember that being so graphic in the Morrowind version. I'm going to have to look at the two differences because I don't remember that part at all. Straw was going to kill her. It may be Theris too. What in Tamriel had possessed her to do such a thing? She cast an anxious look around the room, but the other patrons had lost interest and gone back to their own business. She did not recognize any of them. This wasn't the inn where she lived. With luck, it'd be a while, or never, before Straw found out, but Theris was by far the most exciting and attractive man she had ever met. He not only told her about the skills needed to be a member of the Thieves Guild, but trained her in them himself, or introduced her to people who could teach her. Among these was a Nord woman who knew something about magic. Katisha was plump and matronly. She was married to a smith and had two teenage children, and was perfectly ordinary and respectable, except that she was very fond of cats and had a gift for certain kinds of magic and cultivated rather odd friends. She taught Baron Zaya an invisibility spell and trained her in other forms of stealth and disguise. Katisha mingled magical and non-magical talents freely, using one to enhance the other. She was not a member of the Thieves Guild, but was fond of Theris and his mother, and in a motherly way of fashion. Baron Zaya warmed to her, as she never had any woman, or any, as she never had to any woman. There we go. And over the next few weeks, she told Katisha all about herself. She brought Straw there too. Straw approved of Katisha, but not of Theris. Theris found Straw amusing, but suggested to Baron Zaya that they arrange what they called a threesome. Jesus Christ. Indeed not, Baron Zaya said, grateful that Theris had broached the subject in private. He wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that. Like it. Not that. Theris smiled, his charming triangular cat smile, and sprawled lazily back in his chair, curling his tail. You might both be surprised. Pairing is so boring. Well, it would be. Would you mind if I brought a friend? Jesus, he's really pushing it. Yes, if you're bored with me and your friend can find, you and your friend can find someone else. Okay, cool. She was a member of the Thieves Guild now. She found Theris useful, but not essential. I love it. Just throw him away. Maybe she was a bit bored with him, too. She talked to Katisha about her men problems. Katisha shook her head, and told her she was looking for love, not sex, and that she'd know the right man when she found him. But that neither Straw nor Theris was the right for her. Baron Zaya cocked her head to one side quizzically. They say dark elf women are something prostitutes? Jesus, you mean promiscuous, although some do become prostitutes, I suppose. Elf women are promiscuous when they're young. You'll outgrow it. Perhaps you're beginning to already, Katisha said hopefully. You ought to meet some nice elven boys, though, if you keep on keeping company with Khajiits and humans, you'll find yourself pregnant soon. Damn, actually, that's a fair point. How has she not gotten pregnant yet? Baronzaya smiled involuntarily at the thought. I'd like that, but it would be inconvenient, wouldn't it? Babies are a lot of trouble, and I don't even have a home yet. How old are you? 17? Well, you're a year or two yet before you'll be fertile. At least, unless you're very unlucky. Elves don't have children readily with other elves, even after that. So you'll be right if you stick with them. Straw wants to buy a farm and marry me. Is that what you want? No, not yet. Maybe someday, if I can't be a queen. I think Straw will be a very old man before someday comes, Barry. Elves live a very long time. Katisha's face briefly wore the wistful look humans got when contemplating the 1,000-year lifespan that elves were entitled to by nature. True, few ever actually lived longer, as disease and violence took a toll, but they could. Damn. Well, this book made me blush extremely. That was a very awkward moment halfway through, but we're done. We're done with that part. We can move on to 4, but let's go ahead and call it here for today's episode, and we'll pick up next time with more reading. I want to thank you all for watching and sticking through this episode. We'll have 1 or 2 more like this, but yeah, we're going to read all these, get it done. We need to look for the one book that we're missing. We're going to go check the Mages Guild library. But that's what we'll do. We'll probably find it there. But until we get to that point, let's go ahead and call it, and we'll pick it up next time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.